There are so many zombie movies to choose from for this list, but here's ultimately my top 10. But first of all, I have an honorable mention, Zombie or Zombie 2 from 1979. This is an Italian zombie movie, and it was meant to be a direct sequel to George Romero's Dawn of the Dead. This is the one and only movie probably ever to feature a zombie fighting a shark. And it also has a really iconic eye scene. So it was between that and this movie for my number 10, but ultimately I went with Cemetery Man. This is a super underrated movie. It's from 1994, also Italian, and this is kind of like a horror comedy. But it's about this dude, Francesco Della Morte, who works in a cemetery, and every body that he buries comes back to life and reanimates as a zombie. So he has to kill them a second time, and nobody will believe him or listen to him. And it ends up getting completely out of control, and the whole movie just like spirals into madness. You don't know what's real and what's not. Super underrated again, and this one's on Tubi for free. Also on Tubi, in number 9, I have Reanimator from 1985. This is another horror comedy. I guess I have a lot of those on this list. But this movie is just like the epitome of 80s camp, and I fucking love it. Another horror comedy, and this one's actually my favorite horror comedy of all time, Shaun of the Dead. Like, if you're making a horror comedy, you should watch this and take notes. This is how you fucking do it. The references to all the iconic zombie movies, the casting, everything about this movie is wonderful. This one's not streaming anywhere right now, but you can rent it on Amazon. Another horror comedy, in 7th place I have Return of the Living Dead. This movie is a classic, if for nothing other than the tar man yelling brains. Another one that's just super campy and so much fun, and this one's also for free right now on Tubi. In 6th place, probably the first one on this list that's not really a horror comedy, Dawn of the Dead. Both versions, but I honestly think this is one where I lean towards liking the remake better. But I love them both. I love the practical effects of the original. I love the idea of like the mall and consumerism and how it represents that. Cheating here a bit because I'm also including Day of the Dead with this. Like, I kind of count them as one movie because Day of the Dead actually is meant to be a continuation of Dawn of the Dead, and it's actually the third in a trilogy, and the first one is on this list too. And you can watch the 2004 version right now on Amazon. In 5th place, I have 28 Days Later, and I would say that this movie is the scariest form of zombie that you can get. People don't consider these zombies because it's more of like a rage virus. I don't give a fuck. They're zombies in my eyes, and they're fucking terrifying. They're fast, they're violent, take me out, I would never survive. This one is not available for rent or streaming anywhere, so good luck. In 4th place, I have Wreck from 2007, and this is the only found footage movie on this list. But if you're gonna do found footage, this is how you do it right. This movie is downright fucking terrifying. It's well paced, it's atmospheric, there's a perfect amount of jump scares, and you can rent this one right now on Amazon. In 3rd place, and I actually went back and forth between putting this in 2nd place, but I have a movie that I actually just watched recently for the first time, and my god, I've been missing out. I fucking loved this movie. One Cut of the Dead is a Japanese zombie movie, and it's like a movie within a movie within a movie. And the way this one unfolds, at first you're kind of like, what the fuck? But by the end, you're like, oh my god, that was so fucking good. This one is also more of a horror comedy, but holy shit, I had so much fun watching this movie. And you can watch this one right now on Shudder. In 2nd place, I have what I consider to be the mother of all zombie movies. I would say that this is for sure number 1 for the most iconic zombie movie and also like one of the most iconic horror films ever created. George Romero's Night of the Living Dead just like subverted so many expectations and was so ahead of its time. I know this is not the first zombie movie, but I feel like this one really set the stage for what zombie movies are supposed to be. And the ending just, I can't even get into it. This is a must-watch for any horror fan, and this is for free on Tubi right now. So like I said when I was talking about Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead, this is supposed to be a trilogy, with Night of the Living Dead being the first. All 3 were obviously done by George Romero. So Night of the Living Dead is supposed to be the onset of the zombie outbreak. In Dawn of the Dead, we're losing, and in Day of the Dead, we've lost. So when you watch them all like back to back with that in mind, I personally think it just makes it even better. But in first place for me, it's always going to be Train to Busan. You've probably heard me talk about this movie because I love it so much, but there are very few things in my life that have made me feel as many emotions as this movie did. I actually have only watched this movie once and I want to watch it again, but I literally don't think I'm like mentally capable of it because it's so fucking devastating. Korean horror really loves to just rip your fucking heart out and stomp on it.